What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Into the Void. Just want to say real quick, yesterday we did a live on Sunday, but it's going to be Mondays anymore, 7 p.m. Eastern, because weekends people are usually more relaxed and stuff like that. So Monday night, 7 p.m. like clockwork. Tonight, our topic is Ozzfest. And anyone watching, if you've been to this festival, unbelievable festival. It actually started from when Lollapalooza came out, and they said, "Oh, Ozzy isn't relevant anymore," and all that type of stuff, or he's not cool or something like that. So they created Ozzfest, and the rest is history, as you know. And they ended up blowing Lollapalooza out of the water anyway. But I've been to many Ozzfest, and the gentleman that I'm going to have on as a guest, his name is Chris from Roll the Bones podcast. He's not just labeled, he does true crime. It's a mixture of everything, but the man knows his music, and I figured to have him on. He's a good friend of mine from the Connecticut area, and I'm going to bring him in, and then we're going to say some hellos to the chat. And I want to really thank everyone, though, for coming in on these lives. And if anyone's in the chat, we get to every single comment. So say your piece, come on in, and and enjoy, and share any experiences that you had with Ozzfest, Ozzy, Sabbath, anything for that matter. But let's bring Chris in now from Roll the Bones. What's up, Chris?
Loom, bro. This has been a long time coming, man. I'm honored to be here, brother.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely. It's actually we've been talking for a while, but it's the first time that we actually done. I mean, I've been doing podcasts for years now and stuff, and you just got started up about a year ago, and your show is fantastic, man. So
Thanks,
congratulations on everything that you're doing. And I really, truly mean that. And then when you
go ahead. Not to cut you off, I think this is a good change of pace for both of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time. Music is my life, and I love, I started this channel 2 days before Ozzy actually passed away. And then I put up the clip with Zach Wilde talking about him going to a fan's house, partying all night and stuff back during the No Rest for the Wicked days. And then the next day we got the sad news, though, that he passed. And so on this channel here, me and Keith have another channel, but this channel here, it's just more of a tribute. I even tell the people, whoever subscribe or whatever, it's their channel too. Anyone's allowed in. It's just a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath. And, I always say Ozzy's like the tree. We could always talk about other bands, but he is like that tree, and the branches are like, the other bands with that little analogy, though. But look, we got I just want to say some hellos to chat, though, here. And I'm actually surprised, though, that getting the second live, and people are actually jumping in. So I really appreciate everyone out there who's jumping in. Senorita, how are you doing out there in Germany? Thank you for being here. Why is my color pattern like that? I don't like that blue. I like to rock. No, it shouldn't be. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Oh. Yeah, that'll do. Right about there. All right. I'm like a perfectionist, man, with that stuff. I was going to say some hellos, man, and then we're going to get right into it, though. Briarly, back again. Thank you very much. And just so you know, yes, it's changed till Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the weekend, though, I will probably do some sort of like live during the day at times, but nothing that's like guaranteed scheduled. The guaranteed scheduled time for this channel, for this live on this channel, will be 7 p.m. Eastern every Monday night, just so everyone knows. Zach Wilde, absolutely. The man out there doing the Pantera celebration. Actually, I think that they took a break, though, now for a little bit after Ozzy's passing. That's the last update I saw on them. What's up, Matt? Thanks for being here again, my friend. Appreciate you. Digital Dogs, you're here. Thanks for being here, my friend. Great to see you. And I was watching some of your stuff the other day. I was enjoying it, the bow and arrow and all that type of stuff, man, that you were showing. Appreciate you being here. I think this is your man right here. He was here yesterday, Chris Vaz.
Yeah, here he is. I see you, Mike.
What's up, Vaz? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We doing well, Digital Dogs. One thing with me is I get to every single comment in the chat. This is like your guys' show as well. And even people who are just our subscribers or whatever, if you ever want to be on the show, you're more than welcome to email the channel at right here. Email. I could have sworn I made the email up on here yesterday. Yeah. Email that up and reach out to me if anyone's interested on coming on and talking about Ozzy, Ozzfest, Sabbath, or all that good stuff. I saw Sabbath at Hyde Park, brilliant gig, nice.
Yeah.
Vaz in the house, thank you. And Briarly, sadly, me neither. Wish I could have gone to an Ozfest while Oz was alive. Yeah, they were. That was like I just, when it hit me, Chris, the other day. Obviously, after he passed, I mean, that hit me for a while, but then it really hit me. I was like, wow, because time flies, as you know. And I'm like, never gonna see Ozzy or an Ozfest or any again live. But what I think they should do, and I mean, who am I to say whatever? But I think that they should bring Ozfest back in, as like a celebration of his life and who he was. Yes, you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him at the end of the night. But if, let's say, some of the Sabbath guys come on at the end of the night, or some of Ozzy's like Zakk Wylde and musicians that he played with his solo career come on, and you could have different singers of every night. Rob Halford, I mean, he's still kicking, and he sang for some Black Sabbath stuff, and just bring in anyone for that matter. They don't have to sound exactly like Ozzy. Nobody sounds like Ozzy. That's the thing. So just have, you know what I mean, just a celebration of Ozzy, and bring the Ozfest back, and and I think I could see that. I could see that happening, and I think that would be fantastic because obviously now, I mean, his family and all that. I mean, they're in grieving. They're. I mean, the way how I felt, I just imagine their family feels. So it's going to take time and stuff, but I could see that coming in the future. That would be nice to bring that festival back.
Yeah, I agree, man. My first Ozzfest I ever went to was Ozzfest 2004. Now this was a thing, the girl I was dating at the time, it became like that festival. It was something you look forward to every year. And it's where you had a lot of friends, like especially in the metal community. Like every show you go to, this was your community. You saw them you banked on them. You saw them once a year, Ozzfest or Mayhem or Uproar. But Ozzfest was something special. It was different. And then you're getting torn apart all day with second stage, all the other stuff, and there was nothing better than relaxing at night to Sabbath or Ozzy. I know they would alternate, but it was always just a great experience going to them. You know what I mean? It was a spectacle,
And they had the two stages. It started with 3 stages, and then they had the 2 stages. And I remember I'd see like BLS, Black Label Society. Zakk would usually play over on the second stage, and then he'd have to close out the night though with Ozzy if it was Ozzy doing it. Because Sabbath and they reunited when I was 97, and then I saw him in 2004 with you. Not with you, I wasn't there with you, but this is the year you're talking about.
Yeah,
and so I told the story yesterday, and I put a short up of it of my the girl I was with at the time and her sister took some GHB, and me and my best friend were front row, and it was a Super Joint Ritual who was playing at the time, Phil Anselmo's band on the main stage, and we're front row, and she's like, my sister, she's not moving, like they're taking her in the ambulance, and I just said like, okay, like we're not leaving. Like, I know it sounds terrible, but the original Sabbath, man, with Bill Ward. I mean, this wasn't when they did the end tour. This was back. Bill Ward was with them, and I was like, I gotta, I gotta see these guys, and it was 20 years ago. It was a lot more selfish back then, but I was not gonna not see Black Sabbath. So she ended up being okay. By the way, if anyone's listening, she ended up being okay. But go ahead.
There was always so much crazy stuff that went on in those events, like good, bad, like. Just complete insanity. I remember like probably the craziest as far as the crowd goes was probably Ozzfest 2005. Like a security guard, it was like on and off raining all day in Hartford. And sadly one of the security guards ended up getting killed during the event because you know how it goes. Everybody's drinking, main stage starts, they're blackout drunk, there's a mud like fight, people throwing. They had to tell everyone, they're like, stop throwing the fucking grass. But somebody uprooted a rock and tossed it in there, bashed the guy. it real sad. But I mean, like, that's how crazy Ozzfest would get. You know, remember Dave from he was like their road manager.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah,
for BLS, and he had to come out and just tell people, like, knock it off. Like, what are you doing? It was just, and it was a great year because I mean, you had Rob Zombie with headline second stage. It was right before Devil's Rejects. You know, so everybody was all roaring over that. You had Iron Maiden was on that bill, which, you know, I'm a Maiden guy to the end. You had
that was I believe that was 2005 with the Maiden.
It was, and Maiden was only,
I saw them. Yeah,
Maiden was only on like half that tour because at a certain, it's the tour that year started in Hartford, but like maybe I don't know, like I think it was like after like 7 stops, they just basically covered like the Northeast, and then it switched to Velvet Revolver, took their spot, which I all due respect to Slash, but I mean Velvet Revolver versus Iron Maiden all day, you know.
Well, that's like a super type crew, exactly. And Velvet Revolver, you know, I mean, like they're like Guns N' Roses, like, you know, that was the original band. 4 guys came up with the super bands. I mean, like Audio Slave, all that stuff. I like that stuff, but I mean, yeah, Maiden, I'd much still rather see. But I will tell you a statistic about Ozzfest, though. They had, besides the show that you're talking about, though, the least amount of deaths, though, like the way how they handled security and stuff for how crazy you would think that it would get there. And Pantera, when they were there, it was nuts. But they actually did a very good job. Like they did a very good job, though, with the safety, with stuff like that, with stopping those shows when people were getting out of control and stuff like that. It was handled well.
They now, like, you know, I agree. They did do a great job at like keeping that crowd contained. Unlike there was a lot of other ones that came after, like, you know, at Uproar, there's Warped Tour, there's Mayhem, there's all these different things, but Mayhem lived up to its name in a lot of ways. There was no break because they had 2 stages set up side by side. So while one band was playing here, the other band's already getting set up there. So there was like literally like as soon as one band's getting off, boom, here you go. So there was no time, like downtime, no hit the bar, none of that. Like go get some water. It was just complete and utter chaos in at least in my area. I don't know how it is down in Pennsylvania with you, but Connecticut crowd, bro, like they get wild. Like we're the hardcore.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're the same. Trust me.
And like, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something straight up. Like these, you know, there might be some Massachusetts guys or, you know, other people in there, but Connecticut, in my opinion, we're the hardcore capital of the U.S. of the world, bro. We have the Holy Trinity out here, which is Hatebreed, 100 Demons, and Death Threat. And, you know, Death Threat, I see you, Wes, Burning Hearts tattoo, but he's such a great dude. But the thing is hardcore crowds out here, they mean business and they smash the shit out of everybody. Like if in Connecticut, I don't care how Hatebreed does over there, but trust, like when they get on the stage in here, shit's getting burned down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so it wasn't Ozzfest, but Roger Waters and Pink Floyd played up here and it was raining. And but he kept saying, if you stay, I'm gonna stay. If you stay, I'm gonna stay. And even security, all that type of stuff, like ended up leaving. Everyone just took the beer, took all the kegs, brought it down by the stage. Like the people were in charge of the venue. And fair play to him, he stayed. He stayed for like 3 hours waiting, and it was bad out, man. He called it the best light show because every time he was going like this, there was lightning going and stuff because it was just such a bad storm. But we have some nuts around here in the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area, and we know to get down, but just crazy times.
I remember it was Ozzfest 04.
Thanks, Amy.
I see you, honey. Like I see you. Like. She's the best. Amy's the best. But like,
what's up, Brian?
What do you call it? Ozzfest 04. And I remember it was like later in the day, it was when Priest was on, there was a garbage war. Like a complete and utter trash war on the lawn. And there was a guy, I don't even know who, if it was a security guard or whoever, somebody gave us condoms and a friend of mine was filling them with trash and soda and then spinning them and firing them off into the crowd. Like, and it was just mayhem, bottles, whatever. I would imagine burning pants. Like there was just people throwing, like at the end of the night, you walked out of Ozzfest basically knee deep in garbage at the bottom of the lawn. It was terrible. And I remember Judas Priest, they were cranking breaking the law, and you got another thing common, like the usual suspects that they play. Just the crowd bombing each other with garbage, just bombing each other. And it was just pure chaos. But I mean, it's, I was like maybe, I don't know, 16, 17 years old when that happened. And I think back on it, and it's just like I probably would have gotten pissed now if somebody hit me with a bottle full of God knows what. Now, back then I didn't care. I was just having a blast. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're young, yeah, it's different as opposed to like, when you get older, I'm almost at the, I'm not at the age now where I'll never tell anyone to lower the music, but fireworks are different now. The older we get, I'm like, oh man, I'm turning into that guy. Like, who I used to be like, what? Like, come on, but
yeah.
Ozzfest, though, man, for me, like, so when back to the beginning, I got it and I was watching it. Ozzy's last concert in Birmingham, the one he did 17 days prior to his death. And it was like my good friend Anthony Turco said this, and I'm like, you're exactly right. It was like my whole life flashed before my eyes because time flies. And we used to just go up every summer to Ozzfest and to seeing like all the bands that we love just getting, on in age. And, Ozzy, especially, and even like stand up and stuff like that. But I mean, he did incredible. For just blows my mind every time I think about what he pulled off, right before though he had to go. I mean, it's the most metal thing in the world, I think. You want to talk about the most metal thing? Well, this guy held on to do that show for charity, raise $100 million, $180 million for Parkinson's. And he just really loved his fans. But what I'm saying though is, it was just I was flooded with emotions then, man. Like I was like, oh my God, where is the time going? Like time just boom, flew by. I mean, look the bands I see, Pantera, Vinny, Dime, they're gone. And I mean, Dime, that's just a terrible situation what happened to him. And
right.
And Vinny then, I mean, he was heartbroken. If you've seen him in interviews afterwards and stuff, though, I don't think that he was, I think that could have paid divvies to his heart, though, for what happened to him. Because I mean, it's his brother, man. I mean, he saw his brother get shot on stage during the Damage Plan show in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, and that's just terrible. But just all the bands, though, man, that went through Ozzfest, though, man, it was just Ozzy gave so many people their starts. Like, okay, so Motley Crue brings on tour. Metallica went through the Master of Puppets, brings them on tour. He would just bring so many bands. And with Ozfest, forget it. I mean, you had so many on tour that would just,
about it. Like,
yeah, that would just come on that, like, you would, they would have like, whoever was the biggest, like System of a Down at a time, but they had System of a Down way back because Jack Osbourne was big fans of them before they even got real big, but didn't know they ended up though headlining one year, like Korn, all those type of bands as well. But I loved though, like remember Mastodon and all those type of bands. The second stage was great, man. I loved going over to the second stage, watching that. Zach Wild.
I mean, the second stage was always cooking, bro. Like I'm gonna tell you something, like, and not to keep riding on 04, but 04 probably out of all the years I went, probably had the most stacked lineup imaginable. And this was back before this starting at noon crap. Like, we rolled in there at like 8 in the morning, and everybody there was so many bands. You're getting that, that 15-minute set. So I mean, I remember watching. Now there's a lot of bands like Bleeding Through. I see them on there. Atreyu, they were massive at the time. Lacuna Coil, Devil Driver. But look at the last three right there: Lamb of God, Hatebreed, Slipknot. That was
and that's on the Slipknot second stage. Lamb of God, Atreyu, Every Time I Die, Lacuna Coil, Lacuna Coil. I loved On Earth.
God forbid, I forgot that they were there.
Yeah, and then Priest. I mean Slayer. Then Judas Priest, and then Ozzy, and then Zach Wild's Black Label started the show, and then Super Joint, which was Phil's band. Then Demi Begor. Then you got Slayer. I mean, every one of those bands, you go out at night and you see one of those bands, like with an opener, that's a good show. But to see them all, like in the, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'm still going to look for it. I didn't have the time today to go up there and get this, but I still have those cards. They handed out at the door, and they used to give you the schedule. I remember, but one of the more upsetting years, though, in relation to the beginning of 05, that year, they had Jada Pinkett Smith got on that tour with Wicked Wisdom, mainly because she was a friend of Sharon's. And I can promise you, like, that band was not received well. You know what I mean? Like, they put them on. I got there so early because I wanted to see this band Bury Your Dead, which was really big in my area at the time. And it was cool to see them get put on that bill. And I basically watched Jada Pinkett Smith get rocked and bottled off the stage by like 5 drunk bikers. And that was, you know, I'm sorry, but I was pissed that they kind of bumped Bury Your Dead for that. I mean, that's what I rolled in there to see.
Yeah.
But they still, Angela Gosgow, like even with Arch Enemy, I was just getting started in them. I just heard the name because they, you know, Ozzfest, the website used to put sample tracks of people that were going to be featured on the tour.
Yeah.
And I remember that song Nemesis, it was coming out, and I was arguing with an old friend of mine. I was like, yo, that's totally a guy. And like that, her vocals were just that rough, that rugged. And I remember sitting there, like when I saw her live, I mean, she's dropped that gorgeous, but it's like, you know, she basically blew the flesh off my face, dude, with that roar. It was the craziest shit. Like, but just again, just the most amazing bands they had second stage. I remember Killswitch Engage headlined it. I've met Howard Jones a bunch of times. He didn't live far from me. Total sweetheart. You know, I'm trying to think who the other one. There was another really Soilwork was getting big that year. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Rob Zombie did headline second that year, but it was kind of co-headlined by them and Killswitch.
I was at that show. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, you know, a total thing. They were just an amazing thing, but to show the level of character that Ozzy himself had, I'm going to fast forward 2007. Ozzfest was totally free. Was completely free. Yep. 07, completely free to everybody. I think my ex-girlfriend at the time, I forgot how it worked, but I think you just emailed in there and they sent you like 5, like basically like how many tickets you want. There you go. And
really, how do I not know this?
It was completely free. If you look it up, Ozzfest 07 was the free one.
I'm not. No, I know. I'm shocked that I didn't. Because I remember though he did a show though where it was like $10 tickets or something like that. I didn't know that it was just completely free to come in. And wow, yeah, no, I believe you. It's just something that I would know.
So I mean, it was free at the gate. Gave you more time to, you know, more money in your pocket to buy one beer for $27. But I mean, like, for a free show. You got Devil Driver on there. You had Static X, Lordy. I don't know if you've ever heard them, dude. Like they're kind of like
any one of those bands for free is fantastic, and
like,
they look close it out.
Lordy's like Gwar. They have the shock value, but I like their songs better. And just in case a buddy of mine, Gwar fans in here, sorry, bro, but Lordy kicks their ass. But the thing is like it was a stacked setup, and I forgot who the co-headliner was that year. I'd have to go back and look. And
I should have put up all the posters from every year. 04 I put up in 03 because when we were both at 04. Yeah, but that was just that year is incredible though. But go ahead though. I just want to say Ryan Atkins said, yeah, Ryan, they started that because Ozzy wasn't able to get on Lollapalooza because the promoters of Lollapalooza told him that he's not cool enough anymore and hip enough. So Sharon said, okay, really? And they started Ozzfest, and the rest is history. That's what I was saying earlier. But yes, they did start it because of that. And, you know, I don't know why they would say about Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, he's timeless. That's one guy that, you know, but it was, Lollapalooza, Chris. They didn't want him. And then that's what brought Ozzfest to come out.
I did notice a really dope comment though. Brierly Holcomb, like, look, he just said he got tickets to Alice Cooper. Judas Priest is going to be there, and Corrosion of Conformity. That's going to be a good show, bro. Without a doubt. I mean, Cooper, Priest, you know, Corrosion I wasn't super dialed in on, but I remember them popping up on. If you bought a lot of CDs, especially if it was like, I think Nuclear Blast was a label, you got this thing. It was a sample CD, had like 30 songs on it. It was called What Lies Beneath. I think they were on. I remember getting introduced to them off of that a little bit. But yeah, I thought that was a really dope thing. Like that's going to be a good show, bro.
Oh no, definitely though. Harley though loves though her music. It's actually she's a she. You said you probably read the name wrong though, but just found out I got Alice Cooper tickets. Judas Priest will be there at Croson for Conformity. Nice. I seen every one of them. I see Priest obviously with Ozzfest, and then I see Priest by themselves up here. And man, that show though at the Nissan Pavilion, man. And then sad because you watch all these bands and throughout the day, and then you're like, oh yeah, Sabbath is coming on still. At the end, it's just mind blowing because they have so many headliner bands that could like close the show at any normal concert. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Zombie, whether it's when I was there, it was I believe this was Marilyn Manson was there at 04, correct? No,
not Manson. He was 03, I think.
03. That was 03. And he had a bunch of like monkeys on stage that had these like what do you call it, fake asses, and these strippers on there with these. Yeah, it was wild, man. It was wild. And he's up on his podium and stuff. But I mean, he puts on a good
dude, Manson
show. Yeah.
Dude, Manson is one of them. Like now Manson's band can replicate their music. And that's so important. Like when a band goes live, if you can't replicate your music live, then I mean you're like Mudvayne. I loved Mudvayne to death. They are terrible live. Their music is too technical. It's too fast paced. Like Dig, like a lot of people my age, like in that era. That was one of my favorite songs, LB40, or I think that was the name of the album. Totally, they could not do it. But Manson, he's one of those rare occasions. Like now there's like Ozzy, like Iron Maiden, like these other ones that not only can they replicate their music live is actually better than the album.
Yeah. Well, Iron Maiden, I always say, is that when the crowd is the next instrument. Like get their rock and Rio. Like in Fear of the Dark. I love Maiden's albums better, their live albums better than their studio albums. You're right. Like there's certain bands that are just better live. And they're like I told you last night, when Brave, I wasn't diehard on Maiden until about 2003, 2002, Brave New World. And my good friend Jansen Harris introduced me, to a bunch of other albums like Fear of the Dark and all that. So I got it, went to Ozzfest. It was in Homedale, New Jersey. Ozzy was double booked. And he didn't end up playing the second night. So they said to us, well, you can go get your refunds there, but Iron Maiden's going to play an extended set. And I said, well, I mean, we're already here and I want to see Maiden. I want to check him out. And let me just tell you something. What a live performance. Like, just like I'm talking theater, like Bruce Dickinson, like what I was just blown away by the live performance. They did like a 3-hour set. It was unbelievable because Sabbath, didn't end up playing that night because it was night 2 of the show. But right. And I already seen Ozzy a bunch of times and Sabbath prior. But my one buddy Peach, who diehard Ozzy, never got to see him though. I felt bad for him, but he was even like, man, Maiden live, unbelievable.
That's like I've only in Maiden, for them being like one of my top tier favorite bands of all time. I've only got to see Iron Maiden like maybe 4 times maybe. But the thing is a friend of mine who had passed away back in 2010. He had only been to 2 shows ever in his life, and the first show he ever went to was Slipknot Subliminal Versus tour, and the second was a Matter of Life and Death tour for Iron Maiden. And he had just like a small one. He had Power Slave. And he listened to that to death. And I was trying to tell him, it's like, bro, they have like 1,000 albums. There's a lot more you can listen to. And but he was so hopeful that they would play 2 Minutes to Midnight, but they ended up covering the entire new album, which is Matter of Life and Death. This is like in 2006.
Yeah.
And then I was so happy, bro, for him. They closed out the show with 2 Minutes to Midnight. Like finally, like they, after the intermission, they come back. They came back with Fear of the Dark, like, all the usual suspects. One of my
Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Hallowed Be Thy Name. Evil That Men Do. Classic, bro. But I'm happy though that, he was a big fan of him and he got to see at least them play his favorite song. He had passed away a few years later, but like, I always try to tell people when like my kids will ask me about Ozzfest, because my son, he's into heavy metal, and they just don't do it. They just don't have those festivals like that can, it was so much more than just like the way Ozzy built it. It was so much more than just him, and he made it that way. It was a whole spectacle. Like,
oh yeah, unbelievable festival. Like I said, I've been going to concerts since I was in 6th grade, and festivals, and Ozzfest hands down favorite. And Ozzy had the most people where we're at up in Montage. We had actually parked at the baseball field and get on school buses, leave our cars to go up there. There was, I think, almost close to 20,000 people there, man. It was just insane. And that year was the year that Zombie, no, that was the year with Manson, and then Zombie, and then Korn co-headline, and then Ozzy came out. It was Ozzy solo. It was Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Trujillo, Zach Wilde, and Mike Borden on drums. Then the following year, I got to see Jason Newsted, because Metallica and them, it was like a swap. But then Newsted, the reason why he left Ozzy was because of the ATV accident.
right.
But that's like what you said. There's so much more than just Ozzy. But like, that's like, I would be watching these bands, and like, I would be like, this is old. And then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, like Ozzy's still closing out this show. Like it's just mind boggling.
And and that's the thing, we are in right now what would have been Ozzfest season. So, some of the, and I know there's some old farts like me and you that are sitting in here that they know the score. Like for me, it was like a New Englander, bro. Like when late August comes in, we're already gearing up for Halloween. So there's that anticipation. So just like Ozzfest, when June's rolling up, I know that tour is starting in about a month. I'm counting down the days. I know I'm going to see all the people I only see at metal shows, or I only see at that event. So you have like these long distance friendships because people travel. Like there was a guy, Dylan, that I knew for a long time. He would travel up. He would hit a bunch of the Ozzfest. He was from Maryland, and I would run into him at every show. Like I would run like every Ozzfest, Mayhem, Uproar, Warped Tour. He'd follow those paths, and I knew I could bank on it. Bro, I'm gonna see you at, he would hang at the same spot all the time. Like, I don't know how the dude was like 350 pounds. He's like 6'5", but he'd wear this heavy ass sweatshirt. It's like, bro, how are you not dying from the heat stroke? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I knew it was guys like that, or, I was going to see so many friends of mine that were only part of that world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that you would run into and remember just from being in that world. I met so many of them that way. Met a girl that way too. The girl I was telling you about with the GHB story, but she lived out in Orange County, New York, though. But and I mean, I was 20. Yeah, well, I'm 44 now, so, and that was exactly 20 years ago. So it was because we just talked about it 04, so 20 years ago already. But real quick, just to get to some comments here, because I always like to, on the lives, get to comments. A bit controversial, but I didn't agree with people saying Ozzy passed the torch to Youngblood. He's no metal. He's more emo punk. Yeah, I think what that was more about was that when you have someone that's, first off, he's friends with his daughter, and his performance of Changes was fantastic. And I don't know much about his music or anything though like that, but I guess he is going into that rock genre now. But because he's new and just trying to pat. But you're never gonna have another Ozzy. You're never gonna. It's impossible. There was never one before him. There's not going to be one after him. Nobody could take on there maybe pass the torch in a way of like, I don't know. I don't know, because no offense to him, but he's not writing albums like Ozzy and Randy Rhoads are writing albums. He's not right. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. Like, or him and Zach and him and Jake E. Lee and whoever, Bob Daisley and all them. Like these guys were, incredible. I mean, the first two Ozzy albums are just timeless masterpieces. But I hear you there, Digital Dogs. I think he's a nice guy, and but for Ozzy, and a lot of people got mad at me too because they don't check dates real quick. I put up a short. This was last year when Ozzy got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've been putting up videos on Ozzy constantly. If you look at my Instagram, not just after he passed, it's like he's like my whole entire world. And I've been putting up videos on him constantly on my other channel too. And I just said that during his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Jelly Roll, and I said, oh, I like Jelly Roll as a human being. I get it with the addiction. I get all that. All I said was, I just think that Ozzy, should add like more people like in his like era, like around performing. And now, people are like, coming down hard on me being like, how could you say that? And you're talking like that after Ozzy just passed. I'm like, look at the date. It's from a year ago. Everyone jumps to conclusions. How about you read everything before you comment? You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting hammered over there on the other page. All I said was that I just think that, better performers could have been like Rob Halford or something should have been singing for Ozzy.
Halford 100%. Like, there's never going to be another Ozzy Osbourne. There's never going to be another Rob Halford or James Hetfield or whatever frontman. It's not doable. It's never going to happen. And Ozzy, of all of them, had such a unique sound to his thing. And it's like, and this week, bro, like, and I know we talked about it a lot. We talked for like 3 hours last night. That week was devastating, bro. Like, America suffered, the world suffered. We lost Ozzy Osbourne and Hulkamania. Like, what a travesty, dude. Like, just a devastating blow.
And then the Huxtable guy, what's his name? I know disrespect, but I watched, he ended up drowning. And then Ozzy passed, and then then Hogan like 48 hours later. And here's what I said to everyone: you get all these people on YouTube who all have a voice, and I'm not saying I deserve a voice, but they're like, oh, why are you guys all upset? Blah blah blah. This guy was on drugs, and this guy, you didn't know him, or bullshit. I listen when I'm sitting by myself struggling and I put on an Ozzy album, or or when we are growing up though and getting WrestleManias with our friends and all that. It's part of our childhood. Ozzy, I felt like I met him, but I didn't know him personally. Like, I think I couldn't call him, but I feel like I know him from just listening. That's what I always say: the artist passed, but the art never dies. And but here's the thing with Ozzy. He's so beloved by everyone because his honesty, and because you were saying he'll never be another Ozzy with his distinct voice, but just to who he is, like no filter. He doesn't try to say. He's so honest, and he's funny as hell. The guy could have been a comedian if he wasn't. He's hysterical, and then don't forget he also did that. I mean, he's from a dirt poor town in Birmingham, working class. They do Black Sabbath, gets fired from Sabbath. Then starts the Blizzard of Oz, they're called. Then solo, becomes even bigger, and then becomes #1 reality TV show of all time, which started it all. I mean, the guy's accomplishments are just unbelievable. But he was loved. Even if you didn't listen to his music, people know who Ozzy Osbourne is and love Ozzy Osbourne, and without a doubt.
This has been a fun week with all the music and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of stuff. Us talking about Ozzfest is bringing back a lot of memories, a lot of old, especially your gateway bands like that get you into different stuff when you're younger. My Alaskan big brother, bro, Jason Vukovic, him throwing on some Sepultura, bro, Roots, Bloody Roots, like, I hadn't heard that stuff in so long. And it's like, it's so dope, because then you realize, like, how far the metal community reaches. And it's such like, this man's all the way over in Alaska bumping the same shit that I'm blasting today. You know what I mean? I saw, Mad People, Digital Dogs, they're name dropping dope ass bands that I've seen.
Digital Dogs is the man. He's good people.
But I do think,
I just put up comments. That's all. Just so
I lost my train of thought. But the thing is like, I did see a comment that there won't be any somewhere it passed through about there's not going to be other sound. There are new sounds. There's always new sounds. Metal. That's what's beautiful about metal in general. Like, all right, we'll just simplify it down to the death metal crowd. It's like, now there's so many categories of it. Yeah, you're going to get copycat stuff, but you put up the new sound. Like, you had guys like Cannibal Corpse, Look what changes like between Nick, that guy Chris Barnes as the vocalist to George Fisher, night and day. It changes everything. You get a different guitarist.
But do they sound tremendously? I'm gonna agree with B Packy a little bit. Meaning, what new bands these days sound like nobody else at all out there?
You know who was really good? It's a newer band. Have you ever listened to Battle Beast?
No.
It do a picture like if you took the instrumental from Halloween and then mix it up with a heavy metal version of Pat Benatar.
Wow.
Like almost like there's Maiden influences, there's like old school 80s. Like I'm talking about the prime of power metal, with all kinds of flair. Now this is a band, or same with what's it? I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I will send you their stuff, and they're unique flavored. You just got to know where to look.
Well, no, same. I dig all the time. Check out Ruby the Hatchet too. They're like a mixture of Sabbath with psychedelic Floyd with a female vocalist, and they're more like underground. But Ruby the Hatchet, definitely look into them. Planetary Space Child, what a song! Tomorrow Never Comes is like probably one of their most better known tunes, but just fantastic. But everything, Ozzy even used to always say this, everything has been done to one degree or another. Like, we're in 2025. Everything has, though, in a way, been played, meaning music-wise, instrumentation-wise, this or that. I'm not saying that nobody could sound completely different, but do you think that there could still be, Black Sabbath when they came out? Nobody sounded like Black Sabbath. Could there still be pioneers of a new genre of music that could come out, do you think?
Yeah, like I think it's possible. Like I think what it does is it just needs a creative mind, like, and somebody to listen to certain things. Like because you know what the thing is, I like how now that people are finding the most crazy effects through the strangest things. Like sometimes, I mean, look what Slipknot did in their time. They started incorporating some of the percussion equipment that they use. They took classical instruments, they mix it up. You got clowns smashing beer kegs with bats. You know what I mean? They started adding all these micro elements. And I think now, people have so much more freedom to experiment with a lot of different things. And because there was that long road, there was a long gap, I'd say from like 07 to like maybe 2016, like, or maybe I'll give it a decade, 2017, where it was a lot of the same shit, like metalcore. You had bands like Suicide Silence. They'll come out and which breed 1,000 different Suicide Silent things. Now, like you want to hear something innovative and different. In my area, like I told you, we have hardcore. Now you listen, a lot of hardcore bands, they try to follow the Jamie Josta vocals, the same type of power chords. But you listen to Death Threat with Wes and his crew over there, they took like almost 90s punk and mix it with hardcore, and it works flawlessly, dude. It's like it's the craziest stuff like you'll ever hear, and it's like it's super raw, it's super visceral, and it just blows your eardrums out.
It is possible. And
but think of this: the right people
who saved metal, especially in the mainstream. When you think about it back then, look at Pantera. Pantera sounds different, even though Phil has those roaring vocals, though. But it was that more like, these guys from Texas that were just their dime on guitar and this and that. They're different than Megadeth. They're different than Metallica. They're different than, I'm saying, like the no one. So yeah, I guess it could be possible, but just so much has though been done. And a lot of the stuff too that I find, like, it's like Pro Tools and like you'd hear it coming through the computer. Like I like the old Black Sabbath made that album in one day on a freaking 8-track, and I love
forget about it. Like,
that
with
old,
the computer stuff,
that pure raw sound is what I love.
Like, in the thing is like you have to, I think, to find that new sound, that new flavor, or whatever it is, you have to see what it is that people are listening to, because there's always a cycle. Like people might be more into power metal at one point. Then there's black metal has its time in the sun. Now, if you look at black metal, there's so many, just like you were talking about the tree. Now you have like,
he said Ozzy was the first tree in the forest of metal. Kilo, right before the show, I said with this channel, Ozzy's the tree and the branches are everything else. Kilo 19.
Now, and then you have like, so each generalized branch off that tree, you got your death metal, black metal, thrash, metalcore, hardcore. Off of that, those little sub branches, those are the individual styles inside of there. So like right now, I would consider like the new sound, like you show me a band like that has the aggression of Slaughter to Prevail or the aggression of Lorna Shore. It's new. Like Lorna Shore, bro, somehow it's technical. Like even with Slaughter to Prevail, those two bands, I'm going to keep it right there with those two bands. The things that I hear when I listen to it was like, I hear almost like elements of Meshuggah, like that power and that raw just pounding with vocals and there's technicality inside there. But that man's vocals, bro, are inhuman. And he purposely takes the mic away. And you should not be able to hear this man from like 100 yards away, like you're standing next to you. The dude's an animal, dude.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not saying that it's not possible at all for bands, though, at all, though, to sound like different, but it all comes, though, obviously, though, from something else, though. Like, it all comes from, like, do you think of without, well, who knows? But imagine, like, if we never had a Sabbath, or if we never had, like, that, well, like, even Metallica and those guys say we wouldn't exist. We wouldn't, because everything was flower power and all that stuff back in those days, and then they came. I like what Phil Anselmo says from Pantera. He said what a lot of bands tend to do is they get their 3 favorite bands and they try to sound like them. Get your 50 favorite and mix in there. Like, you know what I mean? And then, but don't also try to play what you love. And if the people like it, then resonate. But, get as much as possible in there. Besides just the 3. Speaking of Pantera, I just might blare this all day. I love Pantera though, man.
Awesome, dude. Pantera was never one of my go-tos.
Love them.
Like I basically want to like stab anybody in the bar that throws on Walk. Like I like the song. It's so beyond played out.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
But like it's like kind of like you look at bands like Metallica, the majesty of their library, and then people want to play one. And it's kind of like
I think one's a great song. I thought you were going to say Enter Sandman or something, because then I would understand.
Enter Sandman, definitely. But like the thing is I've listened to enough White Girl Wasted sing a busted version of One to ever I never want to hear that song again. I thought it was more exciting. I went on a cruise one time. I saw an all Asian cover band which sing September for Earth, Wind, and Fire in completely broken English. That was better than that. And I just don't like when people there's a lot of these hipsters and the outsiders, and not to sound like a metal elitist snob. I love when people experience shit, but if that's a limit, if you're going to limit yourself to just the radio play, you're denying yourself so much more.
Yeah, well, no, 100%. And you're right though. Like a lot of bands, like when Ozzy passed, and I saw a lot of bands come out and they would play just Iron Man, or they would play this, you know what I mean though? But Body Count came out though with Black Sabbath, and I was like, yeah, like right from the beginning, right from the roots, Ernie C came out, Ice-T, and then that was just at I believe it's called the Warped Tour that they're doing.
I don't know what last time I saw Body Count, they were the co-headliner for Second Stage at Mayhem. It was them and Cannibal Corpse, which listen, dude, a metal version of Cop Killer, bro, is amazing.
Listen, I love. I absolutely don't love them though. But like, for example, at the Ozzy tribute, at his last show, back to the beginning, I got to give Metallica credit though. They didn't come out with Iron Man and play this and that. They played Johnny Blade from Volume 4, which is, a song that you just wouldn't think that they would, play. I mean, they covered Sifted in the Universe in the past. Pantera played Electric Funeral and Planet Caravan, which they have on their album, Far Beyond Driven. But it's, I know what you're saying. With Ozzy too, a lot of it's Crazy Train, and they're great songs and stuff. But I like though to hear, if I had the opportunity to play on there, I'd want to play something that's just a little different than everyone else though plays constantly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? And I just saw him. I saw him down there in the chat. My cousin Pat. This man, there was me. He's the best, dude. Like I was
What's up,
so honored.
Pat?
I think I might have went. Pat, I think me and you went. I was with you for your first show. I think we went. It was a mayhem, and that crazy girl I was dating at the time showed up. It was like a whole thing, but it was great. And then I was being a dick for a while, so like, and it was because of mayhem. I started me and Pat like kind of reconnecting all this stuff, and it was we've always had a blast at these things. But I remember what he's talking about. Yeah, with body count, that's when you were harassing Dave Greaves to get your beer. I believe, or that was you were 21. I can't remember which year, but regardless, it was a blast. Pat's a diehard metalhead, dude.
Fellow Irishman, Pat.
Forget about it. Like Pat's the best, and like let me tell you that he's got a collection. I think you're right. I think the year Pat, I think that year what might have been. I feel like Korn was there. I think it was Korn and Zombie headlined that year, because I know I definitely saw Slayer was with the year with Slipknot. It was them and Slipknot.
Zombie, then Korn, then Ozzy came on solo though, and that was oh my god, what year was that? 05, I believe, because then 06 was with Newstead, I believe. I could be wrong.
I never saw Korn with Ozzfest. I never
wrong.
saw Korn with when they were at Ozzfest, but
no, him and Zombie played, and then Korn came on. And Manson was on that same show. It started with Chevelle, and they pointed me out because I was in the crowd. I wasn't even, they were playing that song, Seeing Red Again. And I got up and I was waving my buddy over. And all of a sudden, though, and I took some extracurricular activities, but my buddy's like, dude, they're talking to you. And they were pointing to me going, no, there's a real one right there. I wasn't even getting into tune, but they loved my tattoo, the Pink Floyd, the wall tattoo on my chest. But they shouted me out and stuff, but I wasn't even like cheering to the tune. But it was Chevelle, Marilyn Manson, Zombie, Korn, then Ozzy ended up though closing it out. And that was the year when his wife had cancer, and it was the first show that he did on that Ozzfest when he returned. Yeah. So that must have been 2000. Someone in the chat hopefully could help me out. I get bad with years, but it was a couple of years after that. It could have, but when did Some Kind of Monster come out?
Some Kind of Monster.
That's a DVD that Metallica made though, where they were out there.
I think it was like early 2000s, I think. Like
01, 02. Yeah, so 03 might have been Newstead up there with him. I think it was. Or maybe 02. I don't know. I went to so many of them, and it's just so hard to remember the exact dates and all that, though. But Sabbath was the roots of heavy metal. Apparently, the term heavy metal came from a guy saying their sound was like blocks of metal bashed together, created tune. Now, here's what I don't understand. A lot of people I put that up on a poll on my other channel, and they're like, Zeppelin. Okay, Zeppelin's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but metal, no. I think I no. And a lot of acoustic stuff is played with Zeppelin and stuff like that. Sabbath, dude, with the crunchy riffs. And Iommi, when he lost his fingertips, he had to tune down the C sharp. And they had that heavy sound. And it was just, I think Sabbath even was influenced with punk rock. The song Paranoid could be a punk tune. You know what I mean?
You go. 04, Some Kind of Monster. Amy's on the job.
Oh, well, then it was 05 then when I saw Newstead then. It was 05 then when I saw and 05 is when Korn co-headlined for Ozzy solo. Because 04, Black Sabbath headlined, and then 05, it was Ozzy solo, and before that was Korn. Thank you, Amy. Korn, Zombie. Was it White? Yeah, I think it was White Zombie. I'm trying to think if it was White or Rob Zombie. But, and then before them was Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
Which I was shocked though, because you had Manson before two of those bands, and Manson co-headlined with Black Sabbath in '97 in Camden, New Jersey at the Real reunion. And he was on these stilts, man. Like I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, "Holy Christ!" Like one live performance.
I remember for a while. I remember. I always thought this was kind of a weird setup, but I remember for a while, Slayer and Marilyn Manson were doing a lot of stuff together, which I thought that was a very weird dynamic. You know what I mean? And from a business sense, it's genius because you got the Slayer crowd and then you got the Manson crowd that was more industrial. But it was just a weird collection of guests, people showing up to the crowd. So you get a lot Manson, you get all these emo kids, and then you got these like crazy thrash guys and the white power crews and all these other wild ass dudes showing up for Slayer. And it was just a weird dynamic. And
I could see it though working though, because I don't know
they
anyone
were
else
sold
like
out
Slayer.
events 100%. Like,
Yeah. And I seen Slayer at the Staircase, and it wasn't like white power type guy or whatever, you know what I mean? But this is a more like intimate though type club. It was just a hard bet. I was right in front of Kerry King, and I couldn't hear for literally a week. And I remember picking up the phone. I couldn't even hear people on the other end because I had like tinnitus for a week after hearing them play, man.
I remember,
phenomenal.
I remember one of the last year they did Mayhem. Slayer headlined, and it was a dope thing. It was them and King Diamond, which made me think of what comment that was said earlier about people's stage performances. King Diamond, like another band that does extreme theatrics,
Merciful Fate, King Diamond. I love it.
Oh yeah, like the dopest stuff imaginable. And but like Slayer, we ended up getting upgraded somehow, and we were like basically the front of the stage for Slayer. And like when they were doing hella weights, they had the flames coming off the stage. It's 106 degrees outside. Like I thought I was gonna drop dead. Like honestly.
Yeah, no, man, their show is wild. And going back to the lineup, well, let me just get to this comment first. Music lives on, connects us all. Hopefully the young generation keeps appreciating and learning our classics. You know what, Amy? And that's what makes me happy is when I do scroll and I see a lot of these kids on guitar that are, because you remember when Guitar Hero came out and the world started getting all technical, and I was seeing a lot of people like doing guitar. I'm like, no, pick up a real guitar. But there's still people out there jamming, playing real instruments. My buddy, I wish I could, he's going to ask him though. They did a cover of Children of the Grave, his students that he teaches, these young kids, and they kill it. And Fairies Wear Boots. And I'm going to share it though on this page, but I mean, I love seeing though that people are still really playing on music and not just because there's so many other distractions out there. But if you were born in like the 90s or whatnot, though, with just like, and by the time you're a teenager or even in the early 2000s where you had phone screens, the first phone thing remember Chris, the bag phone, that was the first phone I ever saw. And then the car phone. Like there was no cell phones until I had a beeper in high school. Remember the pagers?
Oh yeah. I remember. See, what was big for me? You're a little bit older than me, but not too far up the road. But the big thing when I was in high school, like, do you remember the Nextel? It was like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And I remember they were one year rolling through Ozzfest, and that's all it was kind of driving me crazy, dude, because that's all you heard was that like over and over again. And it was just like, bro, like I didn't have a cell phone for years. I preferred it that way.
And that drives you crazy. Think about now, Ozzy back in the day would be like, let me see your cigarette lighters. Everyone would like, now everyone's like this watching shows. I could see if you want to get a clip. Yeah, I'm at a concert. Let me just get a little bit of this song. But almost that, like when you go to concerts now, the whole show's everyone's just holding up their phones.
Well, you're filming it. Watch the damn show. Like
watch the show. Be in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Be in the moment. I understand. Listen, pull out your phone. Take a little clip. That's fine. But the whole show, and it's like, you could find that anywhere on YouTube or this or that, but live in the moment that, and that gets to me at times. I miss that because if you watch like Ozzy Live and Loud, I just watched again yesterday. I was in 91 night or whatever. Everyone's just into that show, or any band for that matter, just into that show. And then cell phones, because it's funny, that little beep is what bothered you. Well, that was the beginning, because then now it's everyone.
You got people putting they might as well just come in with one of those old school shoulder mounted cameras, like for the media, and shoot the show. They're not paying attention. And it's like, but this thing is like, it's a trap, bro. And it's like, sometimes it's okay. Put the cell phone down, enjoy some life, see things with your own eyes, and enjoy it. Don't turn it watch me and Loomis, but don't when we're done, then you can put it away. But until then,
I'm saying though, when you're at a concert,
right?
Of course, I'll take a little clip. Like when I went to see Waters in Pittsburgh. I mean, just the stage looked unbelievable. They had airplanes flying, and he does all crazy theatrics. And I filmed maybe 2 minutes of 2 songs of that, but I watched the show. But everyone else is just, And then not to mention, you just see those cell phone lights all over the place in the crowd. I just think you should enjoy the show. Ozzy, here's Vaz. Ozzy became like family to some of us because we got deep into their worlds that we resonate with them. Amen to that. And the other thing, though, with Ozzy is I think what so many people resonated with him is that he was just a working class type guy. He didn't come from nothing. And he was just as genuine and honest as he could be. And that's why he's just, I believe, so beloved. Like, he's just so beloved. And, I mean, still, you look on anywhere, people are someone told me I wasn't alive when Lennon died. They're like, this is just as big, if not bigger. And Lennon got shot and stuff. And, and it was different, but there's more media type stuff that's out there these days with the phones and stuff like that. But I do love seeing all the love that man is getting right now. And, the whole world, I felt like I got punched in the stomach, like I lost someone, like a family member. And I put a comment on this channel saying, I feel like I lost a family member. And someone's like, no, it's not like you did. And I could relate to that because, like I was telling you, you're going through tough times. Me with my addiction, I used to always be like, if Ozzy could do it, I could do it. If Ozzy could do it, I could do it. Or listening to their music, listening to these bands' music, and you get a personal connection with them. And that's what it's about. But then you get these ignorant people that jump online going, oh, you don't even know these people, blah, blah, blah. And people like that, though, they're just irritated with life, the troll type people that I call them, though, because when you're actually, they out themselves, because when they're happy and good, they don't comment like that. But yeah, man, I just, I could go on for days, though, with that. Here's Vaz. Yeah, digital. So I'm like you, just don't understand, dude. Talking to my boy, I'm like, especially in the wrestling world, like wrestling fans really dive in.
Yeah, no, it's like, and Mike, there's so much of that, bro. In so many different cultures, so many different things, like, just in general, like, but like, I would definitely consider the metal culture, the wrestling culture, like, and even in some capacity, some of the gaming culture is just so dedicated. And it's good to have that fan base and that outlet. And like, and the ultimate too, in my personal opinion, I agree, is the wrestling in the metal community. And I'm almost positive, didn't he do something at a WrestleMania? Like,
Ozzy was on Raw. And don't forget, Zakk Wylde wrote Stone Cold Austin's the song. And they're all like, Zakk Wylde's friends with a lot of wrestlers, Chris Jericho and all them, like, because he had his band out and stuff like that. And Ozzy was on, he was on Raw. Monday Night Raw he was on.
Because I remember for years, they haven't done it in a long time, but WrestleMania used to do like a stage performance. It would have like a thing. And I thought at one of the years, I thought he played, I can't name the song off the top of my head, but it was something like, it was famous at the time. It was like early It Gets Me Through.
Oh, Gets Me Through.
Yep.
I just played that. The piano intro there. Matt, there are some really great bands out there, but the old school forefathers, nobody can beat Ozzy, Sabbath, Maiden, Crew, Metallica. They're a step above. What about, I don't know. I like, do you like Megadeth or no?
Yeah. Now, one of my favorites out of the big four. Now, one of my favorites. I'm always like a Slayer guy, or I would listen to Slayer, Anthrax over. But thrash, that's my thing. That's my favorite style.
Yeah. No, I like Motley Crue is their music. Because their guitar player though is Mick Mars was absolutely fantastic. And he was older though, but Crew to me is more. They're not Poison like hair, like Poison. No, to me was more. Yeah, Crew's more dirty street rock and roll, and absolutely. But Crew they're not metal though.
No, and like they're like, I don't know exactly. Like maybe I'm not. Super
I call them street rock. Like they're
it's dirt.
I've seen them. I was at the Carnival of Sins tour. I've seen them a bunch of times live. I think they're fantastic. I'm just saying, though, for heavy metal, I wouldn't consider Motley Crue heavy metal.
And
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Now, there was a guy, like the guy who I'm hoping my cousin Pat's still here, but the guy that started my show with me, he had passed away. Mike Cross, dude was crazier than hell, bro. Crazier than hell. But this man was a diehard metalhead. Pat will tell you, this guy was completely nuts. And I remember some of the bands that this man loved, and like they're a little bit off the beaten path, but he loved his Iron Maiden, Sabbath, Ozzy, and those the big ones. Crew was another big one for him, but he liked stuff like The Obsessed, Crowbar, Saint Vitus. What the hell? There was another big one that was I forgot what the Iced Earth was another big one that he loved. Like Iced Earth with Matt Barlow. They were just like, and this dude, like I would have loved, like I'm sitting here in his honor, like, because he would talk to you. You'd be still doing a live stream. I would go on for 6 days if he was alive.
No, condolences, my man, to your friend.
Yeah,
Condolences.
see, yeah, like dude, like Pat said, nothing like cross trolling white supremacists at Mayhem. Yeah, this guy.
Thank you, Amy.
A funny Ozzfest story. I think it was Ozzfest. Oh, it was Mayhem. No, it is right. So this guy, for some reason, takes his shirt off and he shows he's super fat dude, and he's got the Reich Eagle. And Mike was just so antagonistic. He's slapping the guy and like grabbing his fat, and he's just like, "Oh, nothing like white power on back fat." Just shaming. And Mike was like in great shape, big dude. But he was just so crazy, dude. Like he didn't care. Like he would just say the craziest stuff.
Yeah, we all got one of them in our crew.
I'm so sad because, like, with the stuff that I do, I'm like, I know you were in that same camp for a while, but this would have been like, this is what he wanted. He wanted to have a collection. He wanted to meet different people from all walks of life. He was the kind of guy, bro. Like he's over getting crazy and just. I remember him drinking with guys from the Hells Angels, like, and they were like, "What do you do for work?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a loan officer." And they're like, "No shit." Like, he was just so nuts. Like he was talking about ripping Evan Seinfeld's spine out. He like, just
Biohazard.
Yeah, he was like over there, and he was just total menace.
Yeah,
right? Like and you would have loved him because
we all got one of them in the crew. If I wish I could have met him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would tell you were there, Kilo 19, nice, same show, Camden, and that was and then if you guys see the Last Supper, Black Sabbath, it's incredible where they're talking about what the songs are about. And it's a DVD out there called The Last Supper. I think it's on YouTube. You can actually watch it now out on there. But hold on, I want to make sure. Hold on, Matt. Guys, so just so you know, Chris, I always try to get to like all the comments, so don't ever think I'm like cutting you off.
No, go for it, bro.
I mix it up. We'll do our own pre-record too. Guys, Zeppelin, The Who, Stones, Hendrix, those guys were a whole different genre of great bands. Well, yeah, and also too, back then you didn't have as much things going on. So, you know what I mean? Like now, just so much has been done, so much, and it's like who was the last the last era of like I'm talking like because I grew up with MTV, Headbangers Ball, after grunge. When I'm talking popular, not like underground stuff, but after like that whole grunge era though went, like, as far as music goes, like there wasn't like no like rock stars, like Kurt Cobain, but then after he passed away, like I'm saying, that was just like just a huge like symbol to music, like there, it seems like there's none left. Not none left, none coming out. Rock stars, people, not pop stars, not whatever. I'm saying from, and again, Chris, I look for bands. I don't just listen to what's on the radio.
Oh, hell yeah.
You don't either. You're all into underground stuff as well. And you're very well versed.
One of my favorite things to do, honestly, and I told you, but we talked about this yesterday, but it's not a thing anymore. Now I just have the recommended section, and I really don't know how YouTube builds your recommended, because it's kind of like Netflix. Like I watched a documentary, Fear City, or, a thing about Jeffrey Dahmer. And then because you watched Jeffrey Dahmer, here, watch Dora the Explorer. So
that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah. The old way I used to do it was I would just go to FYE and would just scan the CDs, bro. Like scan the back, you get like a 15, 20-second clip. And there was always something that stood out. Like it's always the album art. And I found so many great bands. Like death metal. I came doing it that way. I came across the Muborg Gear. I came across November's Doom, the ridiculously brutal death metal. There's just so many amazing bands. And I think that's the best way. You just another thing for people that are trying to experiment with new bands, I strongly suggest Metal Archive.
Metal Archive.
Website, yeah, Metal Archive. I don't know if it's a .com.
Thank you, Miss Cha. Keep going, God.
But the thing is type in a band you like you love, it's your go-to, your gateways, whatever the things you're watching. And what it will do is it has like about 100, maybe 25 solid bands, and there's a rating, and it will tell you like, all right, these are the top ones in this field. These are the ones that are people listening globally. And when you click on them, it gives you full discographies, full lyrical lists. Who's the producers, who composed the music, who wrote what. It gives you a full tech load out on individual bands. And through that website, that was a big thing that Mike Cross my buddy used to go through. But it's probably the best way for metalheads to find new stuff and new sounds and new styles. And it's been a while since I went hunting around on there. But the last one I came across, what was it? I don't know how to properly pronounce the name. It's spelled like YYRRKOON. It's like Yurikun. It's a French. I think it's like a French thrasher death metal band. Totally fucking awesome. Like blue. One of those things where if you're moved spiritually by what you're listening to, you found a new one.
Yeah, once you get the goosebumps and you just know that you're listening to something special. It's just that has Ruby the Hatchet. When I first heard them, I was like, yes, the same thing happened. This was probably about 6 years ago, but it's been quite a while since someone brand new though did that though to me though. And but I'm always digging my man, and you send stuff though my way. Different genre, Amy. Different genre, but the last Willie Nelson show I went to 2 years ago, he told everyone to put the phones down, get the lighters, and pass a joint. It was
sounds about right.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I didn't even think about that until just a second ago. Amy used to be just for context, Amy is I work with her over in Jason Vukovic's camp. And Amy used to book, she was a booking agent for bands, for metal bands, whatever. So she's got intimate amount of knowledge. There's probably out of anybody I've met, me and you, you're one of the guys that gave me great advice. Amy's like a wizard when it comes to marketing media. She knows the stuff. Me and her have talked about music and bands several times. And I see another one. It's Misha is she's from Jason's camp too. She's the best. Nice. But yeah, man, there's such a great, I don't know. I just love rock and roll metal. It draws out the best in people. You look at that, it's high energy in our conversation. Look at this chat. This chat's cooking, bro. For
the second one though that said that I just did the first one yesterday, which was just a feeling out, and this channel's brand new. You know what I mean? So
and
thank you, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for doing it in the chat, though. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And if anyone, because you realize other people watch who don't click in on the chat, but come in, share whatever. And I like to let everyone know, too, if you subscribe, give this a like. And also, user welcome on each show to throw me an email. If you ever want to come on just to talk music, come on. Anyone. My door is open for anyone.
But I mean, I love how music brings people to the middle. It's like Amy said earlier,
universal language, my man.
It is. And me and you, last night, we were just shooting a breeze for a couple minutes. Next thing I know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
I know, man. Because you know what?
About it. You know what I'm saying?
In the last genre though that I was doing, after I would do a live, and I told Dave Lopez this, my friend from Arizona who might be watching. He was up in the chat earlier. I just was like, but then when I did though an episode on the Back to the Beginning on the other channels, I remember I went outside and I was like, this is what I really love. Music. I mean, I've been playing music my whole life, musician my whole life. I used to play out all the time, play with a lot of bands from when I was in Sorrow, we played with some big bands that were out in Finland, out in Virginia. I wish Jay Luke, he's a good friend of mine. I'll have him on. He's a great musician and plays like around here, but also like he's known like, in other countries and he's killing it. And, but we were all in a band together and that it was, what would you call that type of music? It was in from Finland and it wasn't death metal. It would be, a lot of piano and strings and stuff. You know what? Death metal, I never was die hard on just constant growling. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
But the musicianship in a lot of those bands is freaking unbelievable.
Like you want to talk about a unique sound. I'm death metal. I've listened to tons of death metal bands, Behemoth, whatever, like that more, it's like Behemoth's more like black metal and death metal mixed. But like Amon Amarth, listen to their instrumental, like the galloping riffs, so much Maiden influence in there. If you listen to Twilight of the Thunder God, that album, I hear a lot of Ozzy influence in it. They even covered Ozzy songs, like they've toured with Ozzy, or they've toured with Maiden, like they pulled the right parts of so many different, of the founding fathers, raised it up or lowered it out, made it harder, and somehow made a completely unique sound. And plus, every member of that band's got an enormous beard. So you can always trust somebody with a beard. I would know.
Yeah.
like
I'm laughing at the Phantom, but God, I love his name, but God.
But the thing is, but like those are those moments where it just, Amon Amarth was like an epiphany for me. I got introduced to them through the song called Death and Fire. Saw him like a dozen times. I went and saw him when With Odin on Our Side came out. Got to actually chill. There was a girl that came with us. A friend of mine was arguing with the drummer about who had better weed, Norway or the United States. And then we were gonna go backstage. This girl, she was crying. She had to go on a date. We should have just left her and went to the thing anyways. But it would have been dope to smoke a blunt with them backstage. But they're just like, they were just so engaging, bro. Like Johan Hag, bro, is one of the sweetest guys y'all ever met. I talked to him for like 2 hours. And they're just like, they don't have big heads, bro. Like they're just really just down to earth guys.
Everyone's just like, that's why I never get starstruck. Or the only person I ever got starstruck from though was when I met Ozzy Osbourne, just because it was Ozzy and I was 20. Yeah, it's the only time that I was ever like, everyone bleeds red at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking up though to like, you play if you love a band and you look up to. I'm not going to say it on here, but the guys that I met, that are that we talked about last night. And I was just like, I'm not going to lie. It was like, holy shit. Like, this guy's right next to me. I'm playing the piano and he's jamming the solo it was unbelievable. But yeah, Ozzy was the only one though, when I met him where I was like, whoa, what do y'all think of Ozzy's protege, Youngblood? I don't think it's his protege. Because he was like a pop star, like emo type star. And yes, I understand Ozzy passing the torch, and his cover of Changes was great. And I heard him do War Pigs, and he's a phenomenal singer. He's actually a real good dude. But Ozzy's I know what you're saying, Misha, but I can't. Ozzy's protege. To me, he doesn't remind me anything of Ozzy. There's never going to be another Ozzy. And that's good. You don't want to exactly copy Ozzy, but I just don't. Ozzy came from nothing, and I don't know. Like Gene Simmons said it best, and Gene, who's usually very arrogant, right, he was like, I couldn't shine Ozzy's shoes. That's what he told Pierce Morgan, and he goes, there was never he goes, think about it. This guy was inspired by the Beatles. He didn't sound like the Beatles. He didn't sound like anybody. It was just him. And that's the thing, Chris. Think of this, because I'm a little older than you, but like my father told me, Paul McCartney said in an interview, imagine though when Black Sabbath came out with their first album and you hear that for the first time back in those days. Yeah, it was like holy shit. Because when we were born, there was already, a lot of the metal and stuff like that out. But You know,
like,
they're completely different than everything else that was going on.
and I think that's what's so important about
Thanks,
Ozzy.
Amy.
This is this is why I think it's so important that people realize how like powerful Ozzfest was.
Yeah.
Because how many bands, like you said it earlier on in this conversation, like how many bands got started because they did the Ozzfest tour? And now I'm not talking about these like kind of jerk off events. Like you had in my area, we had 104 Fest, you had all these small, lowbie little things, the Maryland Death Fest, and blah, blah, blah. But the best way to get your name on a world stage, you know, it was Ozzfest. And
he was doing that before it too. Before
like,
Ozzfest, he was doing that. Metallica.
Right. Like,
Motley Crue.
And I want to throw that respect and love to Slipknot, bro, because listen, they are starting, like Corey has started to done it. They've done it a couple times with Knotfest. I know they're gearing up to make it bigger, but Corey has the same mindset because think about it. When they were nobodies, dude, they were barely getting going. Where did they get their first big call up? Ozzfest. Self-titled album. Nobody even knew what hit them, bro. They come out with the jumpsuits and the crazy ass masks. That 7,000 degrees, and they're going crazy, hitting each other with bats. Like, I mean, and then from that point on, their trajectory was just through the roof, dude.
And you know the story of Ozzy, what he said to Corey. How many members are in Slipknot again?
Pat, answer it.
I think Ozzy told Corey, he goes, I want to be the 9th member. Hey, and you got to give a lot of credit to Ozzy's son, though, Jack Osbourne, because his son, Jack, is the one Slipknot got because he was a huge Slipknot fan. And because Ozzy used to always say, I don't like listening to new stuff because once it's in my head, it's hard to get out. And he likes to stay into what he is. But his son brought a lot of those bands onto Ozzfest, without a doubt. You got to give Jack Osbourne credit because for telling his father, hey, get this band on. I mean, he did it with System. He did it with Slipknot. But look up the story when Ozzy met Corey Taylor. He's like, I want to be the 9th member. I believe it was either 9th or 10th member, though, of Slipknot. But Ozzy actually loved Slipknot.
The only thing that's sad, though, bro, and Jack Osbourne, to finish what you were saying, is Jack Osbourne did an amazing job at scouting bands from a younger perspective and then bring him into his father. But the thing that's really sad, though, in comparison, because you think of the amount of physical abuse the body goes through from people from Ozzy's era. Now look at like Slipknot. Their shit is way crazier. They're doing crazier things on the stage, and they're still going. And everybody tries to outdo who's got the crazier stunt on the stage, and it's not good for longevity. Like, I mean, I was watching a thing with Clown. I just saw Digital Dogs mention him, I think. Now, Clown, the guy's been smashing a beer keg with a metal baseball bat for, I don't even know, over 20 years.
Is it like Ozzy with the biting of the bat and during the Diary of Madman Torto? Like, he was more like, to me, like some people are like trying to make a statement. That's just like who he was like back then. Like, it was more natural. When you see some new people, it's like they're trying too hard. Just be like yourself. And real quick, I'm Googling Apocalyptical. I love because I'm a piano player and a strings player. I love Apocalyptical.
That's a band I got to check out, bro. Like, I've always seen them pop up on so many different things. And I just never sat down.
They do a lot of Metallica too, like covers that sound awesome, man. Incredible. But I like Apocalyptical. And I listen to anything from classical music to, I'm all over the place. But, my main, I love, Sabbath, your Ozzy, all the bands that we're talking about, obviously. But I just as a piano player, I love Apocalyptical because it's more of like that. I love strings and that sound,
Yeah.
My favorite punk band has a violin.
There you go.
What are the names of them? I got to get to the Phantom Panty Sniffer. Amon's cover of Children of the Grave is sublime. Vice, we have to take a little note of that.
What? I never heard that story.
What's that?
Pat just said he Slipknot used to carry a dead bird in a jar. Yeah, there you go. Modern Marth. He's like, and would huff it.
No, it's not a Mar. That was that was I know who you're talking about though, but that was Amon Amarth.
Oh, dude, Amon Amarth, man. Yeah, I got to look at that one. I know Lamb of God, I think, just did a cover of Children of the Grave recently.
Yeah,
and it wasn't fantastic. I wasn't too keen on it, but
Tool though doing Hand of Doom. I thought that was incredible. Danny Carey on drums is unbelievable for Tool, but they just did Hand of Doom from Sabbath at the Back to the Beginning show. It was fantastic.
I don't know why I just thought of that cheese metal band,
Which band were you thinking of?
I thought of Hand of Doom like that by that cheese band, Manowar.
No, the song from Sabbath. What you gonna do when time's caught up to you?
Yo, I forgot about that. I'm so like, have you ever heard Vitae?
What's that?
Have you the band? It's like an Irish band. Pat has it listed. I think I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't even want to get it wrong. This band is like an Irish. It's like they mix Celtic folk music with metal, bro. It is. I don't remember the name of that song, but it is gorgeous. Like it's some of the. That was one of those bands when I heard it. Like I wanted to rush my neighbor with a broadsword. It was so good.
No, I get it. Flaggy Molly, all those bands way back that I used to listen to. I absolutely though loved that. And then you have the guys from Boston. What are they called again? Dropkick Murphys. Though the ones Johnny, I hardly knew you. Their version of that though, that always makes you want to drink again. And go nuts.
I think everybody. It's just it taps into that Irish blood and like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And every time I hear it, I'm like, man, I just want to rage. I want to rage. Digital Dogs, I agree. That voice and the abs, the women, they love the abbers. I'll change my YouTube profile pic to an actual pic of me, Vaz. I don't know if he's talking to someone else. A musical ear can appreciate, learn, and use it as inspiration and make it new. Absolutely. And here's something, though, that I always said, Amy. When I was younger, before I really started studying music and music theory and learning music, I used to be that guy to be like, that band sucks or this band sucks. Nobody sucks. First of all, it's all subjective. And I give everyone their respect. If I don't like a band, that doesn't mean that they suck. We can't help who we want to hear and don't want to. Like, you can't convince someone that if they don't like someone, you're not going to be like, oh, like, when you're younger, you'll get an argument. Well, you're like, you'll start like raging at them, but it's like, you can't help it. It's all subjective.
There's another crowd of people. You're very well versed in this, more than not me. It's like those are those type of people. The thing is, you have to have a set of balls to go out and perform any art in front of any person. And unfortunately, that's the price of doing business. I hate to say it, but that's reality. And I don't know why I'm talking. I spent too much time talking to my big brother this week, so like, and I'm running on his speed. But
when you're done, I'll tell you what the hardest is. But go ahead.
But no, but the thing is like there are some people that when they're up there, I'll give them respect, love, and credit for going out, putting on a show, talking, at least attempting. But then you want to kind of pull them aside when they're getting too dedicated to it and putting too much money in. It's like, hey, bro, maybe this just isn't in the cards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but
or just like learn a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't want to stomp on their dream, no, either.
No, but so maybe sharpen the craft. You know what I'm saying? Sharpen your edge. Or before you get put in front of the. You're not going to take a cop, train him, or just put a guy in a uniform and send him out in an undercover investigation. Well, maybe for Jay Dobbins, but you're not going to. You want to train them right and get them out there so they're functional. You know what I mean? Master your craft and hit it. You know what I mean? And then you're going to learn from failure.
Well, what happens, this is why I love like guys like Randy Rhoads. When they already made it big and Ozzy and the band and stuff were out partying, Randy was looking for like another, like some Hungarian guy to teach him, like, he never stopped learning his craft. Like a lot of people, like, they'll stop when they get to a certain point or this and that. You should always be learning, tightening up and whatever. And like what you're saying, like, construct. I know what you're saying. You might hear some people and you're just like, buddy, like, you gotta be a little honest though to them when they're spending all their
You're
money
right.
on something that's,
You know what?
this or that. But I was gonna tell you, I did stand-up I told you yesterday, I did stand-up comedy. I obviously did music, and I did stand-up comedy is the scariest thing in the world. You don't have any instrument to protect.
That's got to be one of the worst. Because listen, that is
Oh.
something where you could tell somebody you ain't funny.
Well,
Like,
and here's the thing: you think of something all day that you think is going to kill.
Yep.
You say that on stage, and you don't get that laugh. To keep going, because everyone that made it big in comedy, they failed so many times, but you got to keep going, keep going, keep going. They bombed, like Bill Burr even said, he bombed tons of times. But the music, I remember I was puking before my first show, and I wasn't even singing or nothing though, but it was just I was worried about screwing up songs or whatever. But that you have a whole band around you, and you can hide though in a way like you have your instrument protecting you. When you're doing comedy, you're naked, basically. You know what I mean? That's a tough.
The other thing is for musicians, especially in the metal crowd, and I've seen this go bad for people doing this exact thing I'm about to say.
Orange habit.
Keep your damn, keep your damn opinions of the world to yourself and play the music what we paid for. Because I watched this girl, thank God she was the opening act. She opened up this band. She was on that show Rock of Love, so she was kind of relevant at the time. And her band was the opening act for Mushroomhead and Dope. Okay. And she went on and on and on. They played one song, and then she went on for 15 minutes about donating money to some charity, like something to do a dog foundation that she's starting. Now, any sane person is going to be like, yeah, I can get behind that. Not after I spent $40, start playing music and then she got pissed off because everybody started walking away and going to the bar. And that's when she made the fatal error of saying you guys just don't know real talent. You're an opening act. Nobody knows. And you're going to get politicized. Just play your music, enjoy the crowd, keep it relevant. Nobody cares about your personal
shit. No,
you
guys, what a fucking collab. You guys should do this once a month. Yeah, dude, listen, yesterday after Chris watched the show that I did, he was like, this is what Matt, the other genre that I was in. This is my heart and soul. I mean, that's all I do is play music. There it is right there. I play music is my life. It's my number one passion. So I love though that I get to talk about it now constantly. And Chris is definitely you're very well versed, Chris. And you know a lot of bands that I don't even know about, and I'm I learned
and you know a lot of bands that I don't know anything about, and that's the beauty of it. Like Pat, Baz, Misha, Amy, Matt, and Matt, I see you, bro. Like that was good, dude. I love this stuff. I appreciate the kind words and all that kind of stuff. That's really cool. But everyone, one of us here has different bands. Like I've learned bands from Pat. There was this band, I don't remember the name, but I fell in love with them for like a summer. A very alcohol-fueled summer, but I certainly loved them. But there's so many of these bands, and everybody has different tastes and opinions. And sometimes you find something new. Like you love. I don't know if you've ever listened to Demure Gear.
Yeah,
but I'm like, bro. When I saw them at Ozzfest, that I fell in love with that band. I've never seen.
Were they there in 04?
They were there. They were at 04.
Yeah,
100%. And it blew my mind. That was my first real introduction to black metal. Like, the pipe organs, the guitars, everything. It was like the symphonic, and they added like the DJ stuff, and it was just like, how is this the synergy in it? It's a masterpiece.
Oh, dude, it's that's what I was saying. Like, that type of music, their instrumentation is unbelievable, and
Scar symmetry. Yep,
it's just absolutely though unbelievable, and I love them. That 04 lineup, man, was one of the best. I mean, it was unbelievable. How about Scar Symmetry? There you go.
100. Have you ever listened to them?
Swedish, right? Swedish. They're from Sweden, right?
I'm not sure, and that's a good example. Like, I'm glad he brought that.
Let me know, Pat.
Scar Symmetry was if I remember, memory served, they had to swap out. The lead singer had left to pursue other projects, and they had, because this guy was so good, they had to replace him with two separate singers. to cover the range. One would do the more melodic and melody, and the other one would carry that raw vocals. This man, I feel bad. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The dude was a monster, bro. And I recommend, if anybody here hasn't heard them, check out Scar Symmetry, The Illusionist. You can thank me later.
Yeah, I know Scar Symmetries. I thought they're from Sweden. I may be wrong, but just check them out. They're absolutely great. Love pipe organ. So Mishta 89. Mr. Crowley's the song that got me started playing piano and keys, because everyone knows playing like guitar. But when I used to go to haunted houses as a young kid and I would just hear that pipe organ, there was just something about it that and then I was just naturally able, like kids used to be able to bang on piano. I was just naturally able like to play. And I just, when songs would come up and stuff like that, I just something that I was naturally able to do. And then of course I studied music theory and all that with my friends, but it just came natural to me, man. The piano, I love the piano, and because you get a lot out of it. Because I play the bass, the riff with the left hand, and then you could also get the vocal with the right hand. So you almost have like full compensation in one instrument. I love it.
Yeah, I was not instrumentally gifted with anything in my life. I can barely play the goddamn recorder in school. I can, however, play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the phone keys. I'm a pretty damn good master. So if you find somewhere,
brother, you got to start somewhere.
Now, let me tell you, I can give you the mechanics of it. I'll send you the riff. Like 100%.
That one, though, listen, that's the one that Mary's a hard one. Because I had to learn Moonlight Sonata and I memorized that. And then Mary was next. And I'm still working on it. Mary Had a Little, it's tough. You
learn Moonlight Sonata on what? I'm talking about, I can play it on the phone keys. That's about all I got.
No, on the piano here, on the piano.
Yeah, you're instrumentally gifted. I'm instrumentally challenged.
Honestly, I haven't played that in probably years. I don't know if I still got it. Let's see.
Don't worry, Misha. I got you. I'll teach you how to play. I'll teach you how to play that. Yeah, there you go, Pat. Like, I'll dust off my instruments. Your microphone's off, homie.
Look at that. The mics. Let me guess. The mic.
Yeah, 100%. We just saw you touching your keys.
It didn't even play 1 second of it.
Not an inkling.
And I actually played it good. Oh, that's funny.
I thought, at first I thought you were screwing with me. I thought it was like, oh.
No, I did Mr. Crowley, and then I would write it to what? No, I could play Moonlight Sonata. That's what I was just playing. Moonlight Sonata. Why did it do that though? That's odd. You can still talk, buddy. Don't let just we love doing the music though. Talk. Hold on. Wait, the mic is the mic on?
I can hear you at the moment.
All right. We'll start here.
I'll just do what everybody else does at those metal shows.
I forgot that part, but
there you go. He had a sneak in that Crowley at the end, huh?
A little bit of Crowley at the end, though. But Mary Had a Little Lamb, though, man's a tough one, though. That one's tough.
Yeah, I could play it on my phone just with the phone keys. That's all I got, though.
True
story.
Listen, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not musically or this and that." If you're a fan of music, like you already know good music, if you actually sit down, I'm going to start doing shorts of like showing people just the basic scales. And if you look at a piano, 2, 3, 2, 3 on the blacks, every song is written in those 12 keys. Everything else is just higher octaves. So once you really get that in your mind, I don't know. Maybe I always tell people it's not as hard as they think, but I don't know but people are like, how could you play that or this or that? And I think guitar is way harder than piano. Some people are like, piano's the hardest instrument. I disagree. I think guitar is way harder.
All right, there's Keith. What's up, Keith?
Pat's rocking just a skin flute. Pat, you got to start. You got to start somewhere, brother. You got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere. Let's see, bro, Chris. I can't even do that.
Don't worry, I'll teach you, Michelle. I'll teach you how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the phone keys.
Well, I need to learn that too, brother. So
I'll send
dogs. He's a beast on the triangle.
It's gonna be me in the back. I'll have the phone keys and I'll do an old slide whistle like you get from a cereal box.
Amy is a badass from Miss Jai 89. Yeah, Amy seems to know her stuff. No audio again? No, we had audio that time, right?
No, yeah, that was from when you were the first round of the keys.
Oh, okay, got you. Hit that like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Miss Cha. Should make Miss Cha, what do you call it? She wants to be a moderator on this channel. I'm seeing me. I don't like missing comments. But going back to Ozzfest, here we go. I have a wonderful ear for music, but can't play an instrument. Amy, you could if you. That's my argument. Many kids who I remember I spoke at a school one time, and I said for beginners, I went to speak to them just about music, and kid, that you would never think they were able to play. You could play, you absolutely could. It's just here's B Packy. Guitar takes more skill to become good, where piano is all memorization.
Yeah.
But guitar can be memorization. What do you mean by that, B Packy? Guitar takes more skill to become good, where piano is all memorization. I think pianos. I'm not like this. Listen, we always agree to disagree at certain things, so don't take offense at all. It's okay. But I think no, piano. It's a lot more than just memorization. Oh, you have to. I mean, you're playing. You got to split your brain. You're doing a bass with one hand, and you're doing something completely different with your right hand. So that alone though is tough. What I meant though for me with guitar being like harder for me, like my one buddy's a fantastic guitarist, but he says, well, piano is harder though for me. So I don't know what the hardest is, but people say, oh, if you could play piano, you could play anything. I disagree in that. I could play guitar, but not like, like when Zach Wilde or Randy was just going, like I couldn't even imagine ever doing that ever in my life whatsoever. But memorization, no, I just want to know though what she meant though, so I'm not reading it wrong. Because all right, in that piano, as long as you can remember a song, you can learn to play it. Where on guitar, there is technique you can just do out of the. Well, yeah, but the same thing with guitar. If you learn how to play a song, you could just memorize it and play it, right? I'm just trying to understand what so I'm not being disrespectful on your question. So I know in that piano, as long as you can remember a song, you can learn to play it. I know many guitar players though who hear a song or just memorize it and they could just play it, boom, like to the ear. But I think it's all on the person.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true, and I agree with one of the other things. Like piano is like a good base level, and a lot of it, like what Pat just said, he's like everyone should learn piano. It will teach you the bass music theory, and then translates over to other instruments, which is true. Like.
But hold
on, Paggy, like you're talking about, like he's mentioning Through the Fire and Flames. It's one of the longest and most technically complicated guitar riffs there is. Like Yours, Henry Lee, or whatever, the guy from the guitarist from whatever that band is, Dragon Force. That is such a high speed, high volume riff. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't compare like starting off at like, you know, basics on anything with Through the Fire and Flames.
But everything, no, I'm just exactly no, you got a great point. But I'm just saying though that, for example, AJ Bartoletti, this guy right here, I'll tell him, for example, to like I'll go over his house and I'll just be like, hey, let's play Crowley, and then he'll just go. So, I mean, you know, he has that memorized though, too. So if you have something memorized, I mean, you could play, unless maybe she means a different word though by that though. Because anything that memorization, I think it for me, obviously, I think piano though is easier, but what other people tell me why it's harder is because, and they're right in this perspective, like I didn't do it there, but I'll play a bass line that's completely different though to my right hand. So like you're really separating, you know, if you're doing like a whole different bass line, like think of the Doors, they didn't have a bass player. Ray Manzarek did all the bass or all that stuff. Like that shit's not easy at all. You know, if you're just doing your normal piano type chord, like Paul McCartney or John Lennon, like Imagine type stuff, to me, like that's not, it's kind of like just laid out in front of you. And it's easier to just, you know, like that. It depends on what type of piano playing, I guess, that you're talking about. Because there's different, like, you know, levels of skill. But like, you know, the classical type stuff, like the Beethoven stuff, obviously, some is harder. The Chopin stuff is hard. So it all depends, really, I guess, on the person or on whatever. But piano is definitely, though, a good one, though, to start for like what your buddy said up there. But theory is theory. You know, you have the 7 modes, and you just, you know, once you know major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, and then Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, and then you just see where they come from. It's just easier to. See, a lot of great people don't even know that. Like Slash doesn't know the music theory. A lot of people know it from
what you just said. Even what you just said, I didn't understand a word of it. It went right over my head. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, but that's the theory aspect of it, though. You know what I mean?
Still, I thought, like, to me, like, and that's the thing, it's complicated. Now, I've had other people over the years, like, just like everybody else, when I was trying to learn how to play guitar, I was getting okay at it. I just didn't stay with it. And I ended up getting a BC Rich Warlock mainly because you see Mick Thompson have it, you know, and I got it from somebody in high school. I went to high school with, and, you know, the body shape, the Venom head, like, and I didn't stay with it. I think it doesn't matter whether it's piano, whether it's guitar, whether it's, you know, the saxophone, whatever. It just takes, you have to take time and dedication. You know, it's a very rare group of people in this world that can hear a song and just bang it out like that. Like, or they're hyper professionals that have been in this business for a long time that can.
No, some people are born with it though. Some people are just born they can play.
But that's like a small margin of society. You know what I mean? I think everybody, like, it doesn't matter what you do. It could be this, it could be what we're doing here, it could be music, cooking. Like, just because you have a stove and some silverware and food in the fridge does not mean you're a good cook.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
And that is cooking right is one of the hardest things. And this is something I do all the time. I love cooking. It's a passion of mine. But, you know, I was fortunate enough to have an Italian grandmother and just people that like to eat in my family. So, you know, we grew up around good food. And the thing, it's, you know, but even with that, like, I didn't just, you know, take something out of the fridge and just, the first thing I ever cooked was terrible.
Yeah. Well,
you know
of course,
what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
But over time, you learn what melds together. You don't just sit down here
and put into and how much of this to put into that. Exactly. I'm not a good cook at all.
And everything is never the same, too. Music is different. Like, if you master something, the sound will always be more or less the same. But sometimes when you're cooking something, the ingredients are off. Like, sometimes I miscalculated this, miscalculated that. So, but I mean, like, the
No
whole thing is,
mastering in music, buddy. I think music is I always call it the never-ending video game. There's always something new to learn. There's too many scales out there. There's too many, all this stuff
too
out
many
there.
combinations, like,
So many things, though. But he said, I think they're confusing music theory versus memorization. Well, not because theory, though, is Patrick. That's what I was thinking at first, but the theory, though, works the same, though, with guitar, though, as well. So it's
and that, yeah, he's
memorization,
right.
memorization. Like, if you could memorize something, you could memorize it and play it. But it doesn't matter what instrument you're on. You can memorize it. You could play it. Just simple as that. Like what you were just saying. You're going back to Manson days. I remember I remember that I was like by ear when his first album, Portrait of American Family, came out years ago. And like I sat it down and and I was just able to figure it out just from, and the more you play with people, the better though your ear is going to get.
Right.
And my buddy who you just saw there, who was doing Crowley, I told him, I go, listen, I can't find a guitarist to do this solo. I go home, and that night he sends me him doing that solo on acoustic, and I was like, damn. I was like, nice. And playing though ever since though, and he's just phenomenal. Theory can see, and here's the thing with music theory. Theory can be a bit overwhelming. I've been playing bass for years, but just now started to learn the theory side. Listen, here's what I say. There are so many people out there that know music theory, but they don't know music theory, meaning you already know where to go to and this and that. It's just the exact names or this or like, you know what I'm saying? There's so many great guitarists out there that didn't know music theory. And you don't have to know it to be a good songwriter, to be a good, because you have your own way of learning it already from how you learned it, whether it's the shapes, whether it's a half step, whole step up, this or that. A lot of Jimi Hendrix wasn't even a theory guy. Like I just said, Slash didn't play theory. Randy, well, he was classically trained, and you could totally hear that. I mean, D is such a beautiful piece, and even Diary of a Madman, all that, Mr. Crowley. It's just so classical. I love it, but it's all comes from the same. So basically, Chris, what I'm trying to say is someone's learning music theory with guitar. It's the same exact music theory. Because I actually studied music theory through a book called The Guitar Grimoire. And the circle fits and all that, and utilize that onto the piano. So there's not, like I said, no, with the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. That's the same for guitar too. That's the same for piano. That's the same for bass. That's all of that. And it was aggravating me real bad because I was playing with a guitarist and I was able to play piano and stuff. But he's like, no, you got to learn theory. You got to learn theory. And I'm not going to lie. After learning it, yes, it's nice because you know where everything is really coming from. And a little trick, if anyone knows music, if you play a normal natural minor scale, the flat third is always the scale. Like, so A minor, A, B, C. That comes from the C major scale. So just little tricks like that. But, and in jazz is a lot of theory too, like playing different, like, Dorian mode scales, Phrygian scales, and all that type of stuff. So is it a necessity? No. Because like I said, you already, there's so many out there that already learned it their own way. And they know where to go, but they might not just know what Dorian means or whatever. Like that doesn't, you don't need to know it to be a musician. That's my point.
Yeah. Like, you know what? And it's good though. Like, and that's the thing is like, think about how many people, to go back to Ozzy and Ozzfest, and think about how many people this man inspired, you know what I mean? To get up and pick out a guitar, and back before, and he was barely getting started. He was like, a nobody at that time. You know what I mean? Somebody heard that unique sound, and how many people wanted to try something new, take chances, take risks.
That's what we're going back to. Because they started off as the Polka Talk, and then they went to Earth, and then they Black Sabbath, and then once they changed their sound, and I think it's like God, like Iommi's last day, Tony Iommi, listen to this. So he was going to quit his job because he wanted to be a professional guitar player, but he had one more day to go to work, and he wasn't going to go, and his mom's like, no, you go to work. He goes to work. He usually welded, but they put him on the shear. He ends up though putting the pieces of metal down, and it takes off his 2 fingertips right here. And he's like, I'm never going to be able to play. He ended up though getting like a Dawn like type dish soap thing, melted it down into wax, putting it over his fingers, and then having like lighter like type strings, and that's how nobody else ever sound like Tony Iommi. Like, even if he has just that sound from, everyone thinks it's pedals, everyone thinks it's not. It's your feel, it's your dynamics, it's in the way how he just touches, like David Gilmour, the way how he just hits those strings. It's just like liquid bliss. But I just think that you're right. But Sabbath, though, all those bands that we seen at Ozzfest, without Sabbath, would they exist? We don't know. Metallica swears this day they would not exist though without Black Sabbath. A lot of bands say that, and because that was the album that they listened to first,
right?
And that was the first band though out there that really had that sound. Like Deep Purple has some heavy stuff, don't get me wrong, and Zeppelin, does. But I mean, these guys right here. I mean, I'm sorry though, but they're the pioneers of metal, hands down, I believe. And also, they influenced, though. Think about it, in hardcore, they influenced punk. They influenced, I think, so many bands. Alice in Chains, same thing, said the same thing. Without Sabbath, and I don't even consider Alice in Chains like grunge really, because they were different though than than everyone. They were like metal mixed with like hard rock, and Lane Staley's voice is just unbelievable. And with Jerry Cantrell and the harmonies, just beautiful, man. Beautiful stuff. But dude, I love though, man, that you came on, man, to talk though about Ozzfest. I could talk Ozzfest constantly.
Oh my God. You kidding me? I could talk about this. I could talk about this all day. It's taking me. It's taking me back like to a lot of those things, and I'm gonna have to. Sorry, I got distracted by something real quick, but no, like it's like I got so many things I got to send you. I got pictures from Ozzfest. I still got to send you over, and I have all the samplers. I collected all the ones over the years, and. Oh, it's going to be great.
Well, listen, man, you are more than welcome to come on at any time.
Anytime, bro. Just set it up. Just give me a buzz, man. Say, hey, I'm doing something. I'll be back. I'm honored. You had me on, man. We've talked about this, for months. We just it just either the scheduling or whatever. Like,
but I like this genre now.
Dude, it's fun, dude. It's such a better crowd, dude, than you already know. And I'm not gonna name those. Those people.
I'm tougher than you. And then they all call up each other. You'll see they'll call up each other and be like, Loomis, I heard, was doing like, it's like 55-year-old men though that are like, it's soap opera BS bullshit. Like, I'm tougher than you BS. And I'm doing a big documentary on the Buffalino family. So that's my fill. And we're going out to New York to actually finish production with that next week. So that's going to be, when do you see that, man?
Like, you know what? And that's the thing. It's going to, you got that great thing going with Joe Buffalino. I got some big stuff, and I'll tell you on the side. I can't say, Amy knows, she knows.
Keith, I didn't know Keith was here. Sorry.
Yeah, man. Keith popped in a while back. Like, it's good, brother. Dude, that dude, I look forward to seeing when you guys drop that new show.
Oh, no, dude, it's going to be tomorrow, my man.
Tomorrow I'll be there, man.
We got to get up though you got to get 50 to go live, but we're going to be dropping stuff on it though tomorrow. Sure. The construction and artwork's going. Reverend Jay's Mental Journey. Sorry I missed the show. Never apologize. I appreciate you being here. Hit that like button, folks. Share it with your friends. This channel's here to keep Ozzy, Black Sabbath legacy. Well, they don't need me to keep their legacy around, but
the tribute will be long forgotten before.
Yeah, right. But thanks for being here, Rev, and everyone. Where's my man Digital? Appreciate you. B Packy, Stone Temple Pilot. Yeah, I seen them back. Packy, B Pack. Oh, I need to tell everyone too. Keith knows I screw up everyone's name. And I don't mean to do it, so it's never disrespectful. But Stone Temple Pilots was amazing, but never gets talked about in the conversation in older bands. You know what? She's right in a way, and they are though absolutely incredible. I seen them at the Rolling Rock Town Fair, and they were absolutely fantastic. R.I.P. to Scott Weiland. Unbelievable. Their MTV Unplugged is unbelievable, and all their albums are, Purple Plush, I love Core. I loved SDP. Fantastic band.
But I mean, yeah, this has been so much. It's just, I'm still grinding in that other field, but um, this has been fun. It's good conversation. The what do you call it? The only other place you're gonna find that with me, dude, is over with Jason Vukovic, bro. Like, he's metalhead just like the rest of us. I see some One Life family in this crowd. So I'll always show that love to him, bro. Like, and
I like him. I seen the stuff that you guys are doing. I like his temperament. I like I can just tell from people's energy and stuff like that, though. He seems like a solid guy. And
I'm gonna tell you this. Like, now, for somebody that I literally just got introduced to maybe 6 months back, and my wife followed him and all that stuff, not to go off on a crime thing, but this man, bro,
go ahead. But we're gonna keep the music. But you could talk about Jason. Quick, go ahead.
But Jason, bro, is one of the most genuine and loving people you'll ever meet in your life. And I'm honored to have met him. He's a good friend of mine, and that's how it is, bro. And I know he would love that man's got good taste in music. I can tell you that.
Well, bring him on sometime, man, if he wants to come in, and talk.
He's a busy bastard over there. So I gotta.
So are you. So am I. So are you know what I mean? I gotta go and travel and did this Buffalino thing with my father, all that stuff. We're all busy. So tell him to make a day one time. No one can be too busy.
Yeah, I'll say I don't speak for the man, but I'll definitely throw it in his ear.
Put him on the spot. No, it's okay though, man. What do you call it?
No, you know what? No, but this is fun. Like, and especially I love when people talk about the bands, and the stuff they love, and the like introduced to a couple. I had so many good memories of Ozzfest, and you can go on for 100 years.
I just want to thank all the like great. You guys got to do this again. Like Chris, I think me and you doing the music. I like and then like Pat just said, I think this is.
He's not wrong, bro.
No, that's the best compliment that I got. Thank you, Pat. This just feels like a drunk combo around a bonfire.
I don't know now with Pat, bro. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if we were drinking or what, but I remember me and you blew down in the afternoon on we did that stuff that song from Tetris. I don't know how we hit it, but bro, like me and him just started kind of beatboxing, and like, dude, it was the dopest freaking shit. Like in strangest 5 minutes, but we definitely killed it, bro. Like it was dope.
Well, I take that as a compliment, though, what he said right there, because
but yeah, that's some facts right there. This is a metal conversation. There is only metal conversations. All those things always feel like a drunk.
Well, when I used to drink back in the day and go around the bonfire and have conversations, though, it was fun. So I think what he's saying is that this is just like, not. I don't write anything down scripted or whatever. We just go. We just wing it. We talked about this yesterday, and everyone who's in the chat, more than welcome to come on. Email the show and Chris's show, Roll the Bones podcast, is in the description. If you guys would like to subscribe over there, he's got some great stuff going on. Definitely check him out, and he'll definitely be back on. But I just wanted to put up. What did I just want to put up? What was I just talking about prior to
that? The drunk conversation around the bonfire.
Yeah, drunk conversation around the bonfire. Oh, my email. Never mind. My email. Sorry. So email the show here, and to come on, if you want to be a guest or just to get in touch with me, I check it every day. Ozzy Osbourne tribute page at gmail.com. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. And just what a huge loss. But like I always say, the artist may pass on, but the art lives forever. And if nobody read this Sabbath book yet, this Symptom of the Universe, Mick Wall, fantastic book. I read it years ago, but I just started rereading it again. It's unbelievable because you like the whole breakdown and stuff. I do you read, Chris?
Yeah,
I love reading. Yeah, absolutely, it calms me down.
Yeah, I gotta get into more music books. I do have some good like wrestling biographies I gotta read, but unfortunately, my current selection is a little dark. So
no, that's right.
But I mean, I definitely need some good music things. I'll check that one out.
Yeah, Digital Dogs here, great guy. I just subbed to Roll the Bones. Nice.
Thanks,
Yeah.
bro. Like, I appreciate you, man. Like, yeah, Keith, you're the best too. You and Loomis, you got a good chemistry. I look forward to all the stuff.
Me and Keith
And
are.
you know, since I'm not in the comment section, I'm going to tell you straight up. It's like I wish you both the best, and I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of what you guys are accomplishing.
Absolutely, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And the name of that show though is Mind Over Madness, which should be dropping hopefully tomorrow. But I'm really feeling STP. I'm half the man I used to be. I love playing that on piano, but don't worry, I'm not gonna. But I already did. That's funny. I was playing for a little bit, and freaking microphone was actually off. But thank you, everyone, so much for the second live. But now I want everyone to understand that every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, there will be a live on this channel. And it will always be about Sabbath, Ozzy, something to do with them. Like, we did talk about a lot of bands, though, today, but they're all connected to Ozzy and Sabbath, though, through Ozzfest. And that's what's beautiful about Ozzfest.
That's the tricky part, man. Not to cut you off, but like when you talk about it, he's such a powerful force, bro. It just takes you, like, you just start thinking about all the stuff it led you to. My Uncle John, like, he was a diehard Sabbath fan. I learned, like, because of that, I fell in love with everything else because he'd play it in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, AC/DC is, and before the spirals into another thing, but yeah, the man's a fucking legend, and that's the end of it.
Oh, God, iconic. Forget about it 100%. Vast, thank you very much. Phantom Panty Stiffer, you two fucks have kept me up for 2 hours. 2 hours too late. Thank you, sir. It's nice. Awesome.
You got it, you bastard.
You got it. I love your name, my man. I hope I see you around. And Browley's back. What's up? So, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends. I usually put up those clips every day of and shorts. I do a lot of music trivia too, and history and stuff like that. That'll be coming up on this channel. And then Ozzy Osbourne clips as well, and Sabbath, all that good stuff. And Chris, I want to thank you very much for coming on.
Man, it's been an honor, bro. It's been a real pleasure, dude. And it's been a long time coming, man. We've been talking about this since like January.
Well, music is what I did. Like, after now doing this show, and then after what me and Keith, like, that's why I teamed up with Keith too. Like, I just feel better, and I'm happy to hear, like, with your show, you're doing a bit of everything, and that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
I needed this, like I told you yesterday, and especially today, man. I had a lot going on. This was a very welcome, downswing I needed.
Awesome live,
crowd, man.
Yeah, good crowd. Briarly, these do end up staying up after the lives, so you could always check them out. The Lapster Digital Dogs, thank you very much, my man. Appreciate you, Matt. Chris, you're a great dude. Loomis, can you do a live one at a gym with you and all your buddies answering questions from the crowd? I think that'd be from the gym for music. What do you mean? Like,
we can probably smash some plates. I mean, and make a loud bang or something.
I could try it. Whatever you guys want. This is your show too. Chris, gonna help me with the project near future. Just like to get to all the comments. And Briarly. Again, there's the email, everyone. Chris, thank you, my friend.
You got it, bro.
And you're always welcome on anytime. And then tomorrow, once I get the page constructed for me and Keith, I'll send that right over to you.
Yeah, man. Let me know.
And yeah, and that's that. So thank you, everyone. Subscribe up, and there's the email, and we will see you next time on Into the Void, tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.